I don't want to see this. Hi everyone, I'm going to react to Mob Psycho 100 Season 3 Episode 10, Mob 2 Rival. Last episode, Mob learned that Tsubame was leaving, and then he went around asking for advice and then asked her on a date, and on his way there he got hit by a car while he was trying to save this little boy while they were crossing the street. So now he's like laying on the floor there bleeding and everything. So yeah, that's where the episode ended. And before we get into this one, if you guys have my reaction, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and please go to support me on Patreon at patreon.com/Felimini. And now let's start this episode, and here we go. You know, after the episode ended, I was just here like trying to think about how to talk about this episode, and because I was upset, I saw these characters show up. Like when I saw them, I know that I knew them, I just forgot their names. So in order to calm down a little bit before I start talking about this episode, I just went on Google and try to figure out their names and stuff. Because that's how I am when I'm upset and I have to talk about something. I like try to do something else to try to get my head out of the space that I was before. You know, I get back into it. After last episode ended with him being struck and down on the ground, my head never went. This possibility never crossed my mind, that he would just lose control over his powers and start destroying stuff. That did not cross my mind. Like, he was on the ground and then they sort of went into the car and you hear the static over the radio sort of, and then just the ground just caved in with him there, and then they went to, like, they showed the title of the episode went through him starting to lose his powers, and then they went into the intro itself. And while I was watching the intro, I was thinking, you know how he has that entity inside of himself when it's all like interrogation points and everything? I started thinking, okay, is that what's happening? Is that entity taking control over him? That's where my mind was before they got back into this episode. And then they showed this little kid at home, right? That was... And then you hear this, something that was shaking, you know. At first I was thinking that it was just, you know, when he caved in that one time, I thought maybe we were sort of like, they were sort of like showing other people feeling that effect as it happened, you know. It didn't, I don't know why, I thought it was just one time. It wasn't until the episode was kept going on that I'm like, okay, so he keeps doing something. He keeps creating these tremors all around the city. And people were like, okay, there's some kind of earthquake going on. People need to evacuate. And you see him completely sort of like devoid of, I'm not gonna say emotion, but like he was just not there. the mob that we know was just not there, and he was just walking around destroying stuff. And then I saw the yellow powers, and I knew Teru was there, and he was trying to stop him. I'm like, I know that he's not gonna just leave because Mob is stronger than him, but like I was really scared for him, especially after we lost Dimple. And having read before I started this season that this was sort of like a really emotional season. So after we lost him all, and then Teruki was just there trying to stop him, and I know he wasn't strong enough to stop Mob. So I was so afraid that he's gonna die. And he was doing everything that he could to sort of like jog him out of that state that he was in, you know, trying to do everything to wake him up. Like he brought up the fact that when they first faced each other, Kageyama was the one that told him that he should learn to accept himself and not rely on his powers and hurt other people in everything. And now the shoe was on the other foot. Now it was him trying to stop Mob from hurting other people. Like Mob didn't really care at all. There was that one point where he mentioned the flowers. Teru mentioned the flowers, and he saw Mob react to that. So he's like, okay, maybe if I destroy the flowers, it's gonna snap him out of it. And I'm like, please do not do that, because I feel like if he had destroyed it, it would not have this effect that he's thinking that he was gonna have, that he was gonna bring Mob back. I feel like he was gonna lose it even more. It would just like disintegrate him like in that moment. So I was glad in that moment that Mob protected the flowers, because I knew in my gut that if he didn't, like, we would have lost Teruki at that moment. Then Mob got angry and just like grabbed hold of him, just threw him such a long distance into this building. And I'm like, while he was throwing him that way, I'm here thinking, please, like I was praying interiorly that Teru would have the mind to use his powers to sort of like create this shell around him, so that the impact when he hit the building, will be minimized and everything. And then he hit the building, like they showed him like hitting it. I didn't see any kind of protection around him. So I'm like, I was worried that he was dead. But then he wasn't. He woke up. And then he saw those people there. Mob was still making his way. I feel like he wasn't. He was just walking in a straight distance. Like usually when you're going someplace, it's not gonna be a straight distance from where you are to where you're going. You'll be like, walking around stuff, taking these roads and everything. But I feel like Mob was just walking straight, and anything that was in his path he was destroying. And then he got where Teruki was, and that there were all these people there, but he didn't care. And Teruki started remembering when they first fought, and how after Mob created this destruction, he started crying. And Teruki was like, "You're still crying." Like, inside of himself, he knew that he was still crying, that he knew that Mob wanted someone to stop him. And then he kept going straight toward him. And as he was doing that, he kept losing. Like, I was really afraid for him, man. Like, I was really afraid that he was just gonna die. And then he got to Mob and he started hitting him, try to snap him out of it. And you see Mob himself basically waking up, but not like, I guess he's conscious. I don't know. His real self was woke up out of his sleep, whatever. But he said that he wasn't gonna be able to do anything about this entity that sort of that took hold over him. That he kept begging Teru to stop. And seeing Teruki, grow bald and everything, like he was when he first faced Mob. That episode, I was laughing. This time I was not, because no. And he had the presence of mind to save those people, to engulf them, to like surround them with his powers, to protect them so that nothing happens to them. And then he sent him away, and then he just collapsed. I don't think it's dead. I don't think it's dead. But then Mom left him there and he kept going on his way. And then they showed the two Claw members. I guess they're working at a grocery store. And they were like, okay, they're gonna protect their store. And when I saw them, I knew who they were. Like the first one, like I said, I went back on Google to try to figure out their names. Like the first one, what's it called? Didn't I write his name down? Really? I think Koyama. Yeah, Koyama. He's the one that was trying to kidnap Mob at one point, but he kidnapped Teru. No, not Teru. Mob's brother, Ritu. He kidnapped Ritu instead, thinking that he was Mob. He was the one. And then you have the other guy, Scar, he was called. So they were both working there, and they were gonna try to stop Mob. Of course, they didn't show us the fight. They only showed the aftermath, which showed that they weren't able to do anything against them. And then they showed this helicopter with these espers on it. Try to, they were gonna go to try to stop Mob. And if they were able to do that, there was gonna be a reduced sentence waiting for them or something or other like that. And some of them were just talking. I'm like, clearly you don't know Mob. You clearly don't know what you're talking about. And then they showed Show's father. And he's like, he knew who that was. He could feel his power growing and everything. And he just basically took down the other espers, psychics, whatever that were there in the helicopter with him, because he knew they weren't gonna be able to do anything. So he was gonna go after him. And when I saw the other guy, Joseph, I looked him up as well. I knew he was familiar to me. I just didn't quite remember how I knew him. And then he kept saying, when he was talking, it felt like he was working for the government. But then I'm like, was he working for the government in that season? You know? Then I started thinking, I'm like, wait, did he go undercover in the claw organization or something or other like that? I don't know, but either way, he was there as well. He was asking Toichiro if he knew who that was. I can't quite remember if Joseph and Mob came face to face at one point. He should know that it was him, right? He wouldn't be like, "Do you know that person?" or something or other like that. So I don't know. I guess this not makes sense, because when I was watching throughout the season, in the intro, you saw Toichiro in the intro. I guess I forgot about it, and then now he's jumping into the fray as well. He was gonna go face Mob, which I don't know. Maybe he might be able to stop him. Who knows? I feel like the first time, I don't quite remember the fight between Mob and Toichiro last season, but I feel like while they were facing each other, Mob was still himself. You know, I don't think he lost control and the other entity took control over him. I feel like he was still himself while he was facing Toichiro. But this time around, Mob is not Mob. Okay, so it's like, I don't know, maybe he's gonna be able to do something. I mean, he is super strong, so thank you guys for watching, and if you like this reaction, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and if you want to see my reaction to the next episode, you can do so by checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/feelmini. You can also see the full length of this reaction there as well. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye. Squash. On the water squat.